some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave.
Good morning, everyone. It is the 5th and it is Tuesday, and I don't have to go to the dentist, which is a miracle, but it's also a miracle to be able to go to the dentist. So no complaining, and my face is no longer numb. So that works. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Wolfram, for your Modly Mod duties as always, and Tammy CA, welcome. JKD Buck, thank you for your Modly Mod duties as well, and Alice G, Denise Sells, and Jeff Montgomery, and Lurking Meowth, love the name, Mamo Cuddles, Debbie, good morning, and Jem, welcome, and Squid Pro Quo Conversations, good morning. So we have a lot of news and 3 stories that will bring forward the final form of Jesus in a full female sweep of, well, Lord Shippy today. You know, yesterday was Tennessee, today is Ratchet Ladies. But our first story is that an influencer model, Donald Zabin Hood, has been busted after his husband was found stabbed to death on a toilet in their New York home. So I expect this to be a giant case. It has all of the, things that usually get a big case going. So you've got, 2 very successful kind of influencer models, very attractive men. You've got illusions of, DV. You've got very public people. So I imagine that this case is going to be a very big case coming up. A personal trainer found stabbed to death in his Harlem apartment had a blowout fight with his fitness model husband the night prior and made a dramatic phone call to his father saying his allegedly, not nice partner was quote unquote coming after him, prosecutors revealed. Now, the allegedly murderous model, Donald Zabin Hood, 40, was arrested on a burglary charge and held without bail after his 34-year-old husband, Jacob Zabin Hood, was found dead on a toilet Friday, covered in stab wounds. Now, neighbors and court records reveal that there was already a tumultuous, relationship between these two, even though they looked picture perfect on social media. They have glamorous photos of them posing on a ship for some reason. I mean, to be fair, they're both very attractive young men, but they also don't bat for my team. And on a more serious note, if you are in a relationship where someone is making you feel small, where there is any sort of laying of hands or, any of this kind of stuff, please consider getting out of it. There are resources out there. You don't have to stay in a relationship with someone who lays hands on you, makes you feel bad, makes you feel small. That's not what relationships are. So, I'm not quite sure, Jim, which one is which, to be honest. And I can only imagine how long it took them both to get ready. Good Lord in heaven. Since they're all together, I can't tell which one is which, to be very honest with. Okay, so Donald is on the left. So Jacob must be this one. Now, Again, neighbors and court records show that, this was not a happy relationship. There had been alleged DV going back to 2022 by Donald, whom Jacob had accused of, threatening him with a knife and being very aggressive. Now, Donald, who has also defied multiple court orders, protective orders in the recent months, has not been charged with murder yet, as prosecutors are investigating the case as a homicide. So I am glad that they are taking their time to investigate this, but expect a murder charge very shortly coming. I mean, I'm not a lawyerologist, but I would imagine that this is going to become a homicide murder case. They fought all the time. We could hear it. Craig Wesley, 44, a neighbor in their building, told the Post on Monday. Now, Jacob Simon Hood, who was studying to be a doctor, called his father the night before he was found and said that, telling him that his husband was coming after him, not allowing them or him to leave their apartment. He also sent his father a photo of a wound on his leg. Now, the helpless dad learned that Donald was there because he was screaming and he could hear screaming and derogatory names coming through the phone as his son is saying, "I'm scared, Dad, my husband won't let me leave." And I can't imagine what his father's going through to have to hear on, your precious baby boy, getting called horrible names and in terror. And, that is just the worst place for a parent to be. Now, police later found Jacob slumped over the toilet, covered in blood with gashes from his head, multiple stab wounds to the back of his leg, including the back of his calf that penetrated muscle. Now, one of the wounds severed the artery. So you have a femoral artery. Stab wounds to your upper thigh are very dangerous because you could nick the femoral artery. And unless you have someone who's, more ER doctory than I am, you're going to pass away. Now, Donald had a bunch of cuts on his arms that required stitches, and also shockingly told the cops that he'd had a knife fight in, their apartment with Jacob the night before, as you do, of a weekend. Now, he claimed that he fell asleep after this knife fight and woke up at 4 a.m. to find Jacob dead. Now, Donald was a successful model on Instagram who, had nearly 68,000 followers on his fashion shoot, runway shows, and sort of run-ins with celebrities, along with romantic getaways with Jacob. So, this is another story. Not everything on Instagram, any of these things are real. I mean, y'all see me. This is not how I wake up in the morning. Look, I wake up needing to wash my face, brush my teeth, and put my face on like everyone. So you are not seeing the truth of how Mo wakes up, just unfettered. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, he was arrested in February. So again, this has a long history of documented DV. So I don't know. I'm guessing he is going to this would be a case that he might plead to because the evidence is like all the guilty. Again, he's presumed guilty, but it's out. I mean, it's not like he didn't leave a bunch of evidence. So again, if you are in a relationship where you are being made small, where, you are afraid, please definitely think about getting out. From one person who stepped away to another. It's not easy, it's scary, but you will find a life outside of it. You will grow as a person and not be as small. You aren't small. You aren't worthless. You aren't useless. All those things, all those, records that you have inside your head that were put there by someone else, they're not true. And you can get most of yourself back. And unfortunately, having walked through this, you might have the words to say to help someone else. That's my wisdom. If you walk through crap, use your wisdom that you learned from that to help other people when they walk through crap. On that note, I did want to pull up this story because I wanted to remind everyone to check in on your strong friends, the ones that are always smiling, the ones that seem like they've got everything together. Because a lot of times that's a mask. and people are silently struggling and just need someone to ask if they're okay and really listen to their problems. So if you have a friend you haven't connected with, or, that mom that seems to have everything under control, check in on them, because honest to goodness, a smiling face can hide a lot of, pain and hurt. Anne Burrell's friends can't believe the Food Network star meant to end her life. She was always smiling. Again, that can be a mask. Not that I know anything about this, but I do tend to use dark humor to mask some of the things that have hurt me. I know you're shocked. But sometimes you need someone to listen and not gloss it over with humor. Close friends of late chef and Food Network star Anne Burrell are shocked and in disbelief that the charismatic gourmand, possibly, self-deleted or took her own life. Again, this is not a subject that's really easy to talk about, but it is a reminder, I think, very much that we need to check in on our friends, especially the strong ones, especially the ones that don't ask for help. Because, that put together facade, could be hiding something. The worst cook in America's star's death was ruled, she took her own life due to acute intoxication from a combination of drugs, according to the New York City Medical Examiner's Office. Now, sources closer to the 55-year-old chef and cookbook author, survived by her husband, Stuart Claxon, say she was in great spirits just hours earlier. She looked like she was having the time of her life at Improv, a source close to Burrell told the Post, trying to make sense of her sudden passing. And a lot of people who are very funny tend to be introverted extroverts, and it takes a little bit. A lot of people, comedians, will turn to substances or things like that because they're really more inside cats, but they also like to observe and entertain. So it's a very dualistic kind of personality. And it can lead to, I'm able to, kind of get out of my comfort zone and be funny and tell my jokes if I have just a drink, or I do this, and then it spirals. And I'm not a doctorologist, I'm not a psychologist, and therapists would have a field day with me. But this is a reminder. Check in with your friends. Check in with your friends. And if you're struggling with something, it's not a weakness. Talk to someone, even if it's, using humor or, trying to get to the bottom of something. Don't be afraid to show that you're struggling. We are all, in some measure, a hot mess express. And we have those great days where we look like we're all put together, but that's not real life. Real life is forgetting that school orientation happened last night and Mr. Mo only catching it 5 minutes before it started. So that's real life. Real life is messy, and it's hard sometimes, and sometimes you need a friend. And please, if you are struggling, it gets better. It does. There have been times in my life where I thought, doggone it, this is the worst thing ever. And if I'd given in, I wouldn't have met you guys, you awesome people. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So don't give in to that. Talk to someone, because it does get better. This season of life changes. It really, really does. So, check in on your friends. Be kind. And, again, just don't be a dick. I don't know how to say it anything anyway else, but this article really did, I think, punctuate the fact that we do need to, care for one another and check in on our friends. Because again, sometimes a smile hides deep pain. I think Robin Williams talked about it, regardless of how you feel about his joke stealing, allegedly in Minecraft. But he does make some really good points that people that are very humorous tend to be very good observers of the world, with the ability to kind of turn the paradigms on their, tilt them to make them funny. But sometimes when you're smart and you notice a lot of things, it means you can get a little black pilled once in a while. So take a puppy kitten break, do something that makes you happy, and check in on your friends. That's from Mama Mo. I don't know who needs to hear that, but today might be dark, but there is a dawn coming up. In sad news, and I don't think I've ever heard of this person, but he seems to be fairly big in his community. A beloved shipwreck explorer and husband of a top New York, or not New York, New Jersey lawyer died during a deep sea dive. Now, again, I don't know him. The only diver I really know is Jacques Cousteau and possibly James Cameron for Titanic, which I don't know if he counts. Because is he a submariner or is he a diver if he's going down in like a sub thingy? A prominent shipwreck explorer and the husband of one of the top, lawyers in New Jersey, has passed away during a deep sea diving expedition. Joe Mensrani, 47, suffered an emergency on July 29th while diving to the shipwreck of the Big Engine steamer, which is about 200 miles offshore on the eastern edge of Georges Bank, according to his company Atlantic Wreck Salvage. Now, his cause of death has not been revealed at this time. The company only announced it. So it might be, something that they're looking into. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a diverologist. However, they stated that a full investigation is ongoing and currently they have no reason to suspect either diver error or equipment failure. Joe's Mensrani was larger than life. He was kind, compassionate, and generous, and a mentor, friend, brother, and son, Atlantic Wreck Salvage shared. Now, whether monitoring onboard DV tenacious, diving into the deep, dangerous water, or defending his clients in court, Joe demanded the best of everyone around him, and sometimes he demanded it grumpily, but he always demanded by example. Now, Mensrani co-owned Atlantic Wreck Salvage with his wife, New Jersey Public Defender Jennifer Saliti. He was also a criminal defense lawyer by trade. Now, Saliti was on board when her husband passed, and goodness gracious, I hope that she is getting the support, comfort, and care that she needs during this time. I mean, nothing's going to make grief better, but I hopefully, she has people around her who are, making her meals, reminding her to eat, bringing over toilet paper, paper plates so she doesn't have to go to the grocery store. Going to Walmart when you're grieving, like freshly grieving, is its own fresh hell. Like, I'm not going to lie, there is something very, very surreal about going to Walmart, like when you're freshly bereaved, and just people watching and looking at people and realizing that no one else's life has shattered, and how insane it is that a day before you are probably one of those people just laughing, talking, spending too damn long looking at the damn peanut butter. It's crunchy or creamy. Get to walking. Although I like the crunchy honey nut, but they seem to be phasing that out. So Skippy or Jif, could you just keep that going? Because I love it. That being said, Tangent brought back together. I do hope she's getting, comfort and care, because that is the one thing that is really hard, is, at least for me, and it's different for everyone, but going to the grocery store was just an absolute ridiculous, kind of weird experience for me. Now, the company did share a final photo of Mensrani aboard the bow. So DV Tenacious is the name of the boat. I was like, I don't know what the hell that means. But in the mid-90s, he became a certified diver and quickly took to sunken wrecks off the northeastern coast and developed an obsession with exploring sunken holes that litter the approach to New York Harbor. So again, he found his passion, and hopefully they can find out what happened, keep everyone else safe as they're doing this salvage work. And, hopefully his family, friends, and, loved ones are getting support and kindness. Now, in someone who needs to go directly to daggone Snake Island for the rest of his daggone life, because we do not deal with badness to puppies and kittens. We don't. We just don't. No, no, no pass go. Go straight to jail or Snake Island.
It's a curse, we got room for the wicked, the cruel, and the worst. If you lie, if you cheat, if your soul's made of bile, you're bound for the fangs and the venom in style. Oh, one-way ticket to Snake Island. Oh, let the conscience, less cowards and gaslighters go. No anchor, no lifeboat, no tearful goodbyes. Trust isn't uncommon, need cold-blooded skies. Back up your friend.
Hello, everyone. So we have Move Over Mike Vick. It looks like this guy is, well, the new, just, well, not friend of Snoopy. Let's be real. I was gonna say something curse wordy, but I know some of you guys, watch this with your children, and I do allude to bad things, but I try not to curse in the morning. I get it all out with Shizzy in the evenings. Ex-Giant running back LaShawn Johnson has been found guilty in the largest federal dog fighting case ever. Again, I don't understand the appeal. I don't understand any of that, of the culture of having any animals fight, get hurt. It's not my jam. I don't understand why it's anyone's jam. It really shouldn't be anyone's jam. Ex-NFLer LaShawn Johnson was convicted on 6 felony counts related to his role in a federal dog fighting bust earlier this year. A federal jury, jury in Oklahoma found the former Giants running back guilty last week of violating the Federal Animal Welfare Act's prohibition against possessing, selling, transporting, or delivering animals to be used in fighting ventures, the Department of Justice announced Monday. Now he will be sentenced at a later date and faces a maximum penalty of 5 years behind bars and a fine of up to $250,000 on each count. Well, let's see. So you got 5 counts, 6 counts, 6 times 5. Well, we'll see you in, 30 years. Have fun. And you owe just a gajillion dollars because I'm not going to do math, okay? Now, authorities seized about 190 dogs, and Johnson surrendered them to the government, which is pursuing the forfeiture of the animals. This criminal profited off of the misery of innocent animals, and he will face severe consequences for his vile crimes, Attorney General Pamela Bondi said in a statement. This case underscores the Department of Justice commitment to protecting animals from abuse. 190 dogs are now safe thanks to outstanding collaborative work by our attorneys and law enforcement components. Pretty much, Nick, pretty much. And the sad thing is of those dogs, there's going to be some that cannot be rehabilitated, that cannot be made safe, that have been raised and trained to fight and are going to have to be put down. So of all those dogs, unfortunately, not all of them are going to survive just for safety reasons. And it sucks because not only does it perpetuate, certain breed things. And I will be honest with you guys, I have met really good pit bulls and really sweet pit bulls. So this is not an anti-pit bull thing. I am not Bronca. Send all emails to Bronca. But when I don't know the pit bull, I will tell you that I do get a little uncomfortable because I don't know how they were trained, how they were raised. And, if that doesn't make me anti-pit bull, that just makes me, kind of afraid of a really muscular looking dog. I don't know how it was trained. It'd be the same way if a bull mastiff, when I used to walk around the neighborhood before I was hurt, right before I called it Murder Hill, but it's basically like a 45-degree incline with a double stroller. Well, actually a quad stroller in the early days. And yes, I have 6 children. I had a quad stroller. Just marvel at my glamour. Anyhoozle, there was a big giant bull mastiff that would walk its property line, and I was okay with that because I'm used to the country, like dogs walk their property line when you walk by them. But he would start barking and get aggressive. And, there was times where I was like, okay, I'm watching Bronca to see what I need to do if this dog is, going to be aggressive, because he did seem fairly aggressive. And again, I get dogs and property lines. Okay, we are done with this tangent. I'm just saying, I like dogs, but pit bulls sometimes scare me if I don't know them. Most of them are sweetie peeties. Again, not I don't judge an entire breed, but a big muscular dog does scare me just a bit if I don't know them. Now, he was charged in March in a federal court enforcement dubbed the largest seizure of dogs ever in a federal case, and was said to nearly have 200 pit bull style dogs, which were in an animal fighting venture. Now, during the multiple day trial in Oklahoma, prosecutors presented evidence that he had bred and trafficked his dogs for his operation called Malcan. Oh, for God's sake, Malcant Kennels. So MAL and then Cant, KANT, and then Kennels. Could you not come up with a dumb name? If you're going to be a criminal, like, don't make a dumb name. I already don't like you for being mean to dogs. So could you not come up with a dumbass name? Excuse my cursing. Now, the FBI will not stand for people that perpetuate this despicable crime of dogfighting, FBI Director Kash Patel said in a statement. Thanks to the hard work of our look, I'm not gonna blow smoke for Kash Patel or Pam Bondi. I'm glad that they got him. I want to see what the actual sentencing is going to be, if he's going to get a pass because of who he used to be and his, sports ball fame. That being said, I hope he doesn't. I hope he gets the full weight of what he did, because not only are those animals, possibly not going to all be alive at the end of this, but it's just cruel and it's disgusting. And to use animals for sport, I have never understood. Again, it's not my jam. I'm not going to go fox hunting anytime. I saw the Fox and the Hound and it ruined me. So there you go. Now, y'all, a miracle has come upon us. Today, of all days, when I needed it, we have 3 stories that I think might get final form Jesus right here back on earth. So let's get into these.
The key keep its grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With 6-pack listening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
I don't even know where to go with this headline. A British mom claims to have been, sexually assaulted by a parasailing operator while midair in Tunisia. I mean, good. Of all the places that you thought you were safe, I guess parasailing. Well, look, you're not going to get my afraid of heights behind on a parasail, to be honest with you. Like, on my bucket list, parasailing is not. A British mother of 3 claims that she was, SA'd midair while parasailing in Africa, according to a report. Michelle Wilson, 52, said she was strapped into a harness with a parasail operator when he pressed himself against her and groped her as they sailed through the sky off a beach in Sousse. I could feel the back of my bikini bottoms being pulled, and he was pulling on the strap, she told The Sun. He must have tightened the harness to get me closer. Oh, I'd be calculating the drop. I'm just, no, just no. All the no. He straddled his legs around me. He had one hand up on the parachute and the other one wasn't. I felt it on my leg. He was groping and moving back and forth and talking in Arabic. Again, don't go parasailing with random men. I don't know. Now, that being said, definitely Mr. Mo would have had words like, because he knows me. First of all, I wouldn't have gone parasailing. But again, in an alternate reality where I went parasailing and this happened, Mr. Mo would probably be in a Tunisian prison. That's just no. Now, that being said, she had originally started or planned to ride with a friend, so not this, instructor. And the friend said that she had a great time, no gropey, no touchy touchy. And she claims that as soon as she landed down on the ground, she burst into tears and reported the incident to the local police. And she said the incident had ruined her vacation, which I can completely understand. I mean, no one likes this. You know, that being said, she said, as a woman, you expect a bit of banter from men in these countries, but this wasn't banter, this was assault. Now, Wilson spent $8,000 on her trip for Tunisia with her 17-year-old daughter, her friend, and the friend's 16-year-old sons. She believed the man has since been arrested. British authorities and Wilson's insurance company are assisting in the case. Now, EasyJet is also looking into this because they were the bookers. And this happened in Tunisia, JKD Buck. That being said, nah. Look, I have some thoughts, but those belong more on a political channel, which this is not. But be careful and realize that different cultures are going to have different attitudes about women. And in certain cultures, if you're not covered up, you're in the backwards tradition, you are a loose woman who is easy pickings. So be mindful of the different cultures when you go to a different country. Now, should this happen at all? Not ever, not ever. But do be aware that there are a lot of cultural differences in certain countries with different ideals. And that's about all I'm going to say about that one. But maybe just don't go parasailing. God didn't make us fly. I say we stay on the ground. Again, I have no idea what to make of this headline, but we're just going to go with it. Y'all, we're going with it. Kraken forward John Hayden, mascot Bowie, charged by a wild grizzly bear in Alaska during a wild fishing scene. Now, as I'm not fully, integrated into the sportsology yet, though I am looking to expand into sports ball, sea trolls are apparently not welcome in Alaska. The Seattle Kraken and their mascot, Bowie the sea troll, were in Anchorage for a community partnership when Bowie and co. were charged by a grizzly bear. The bear's probably like, what the hell? The team was in Anchorage fly fishing at Brooks Fall as a part of their annual partnership trip with the Bristol Bay Native Corporation, which brings hockey and community engagement to fans in Alaska. Every year we try to do something special and unique to Alaska, Kraken Partnership Marketing Director Melissa Obacha described the event to Como News. A couple years ago, we took Bowie on a little glacial helicopter ride. In years past, we've done fishing in Anchorage, but this year we were like, let's do fly fishing over at Brooks Fall. I love it. The bear's like, get the hell out of here. I don't like furries. The bear's like, not in my town. Brooks Fall is iconic. If you've ever seen a picture of a bear catching salmon in its mouth, it's typically Brooks Fall. Okay, then why are you going to Bear Central, River to do your fly fishing? This seems like risk management did not look into this outing. HR and, the actuaries from the insurance company did not think about this outing. Well, those bears are certainly on they were certainly on a salmon hunt when Kraken was in town. The team was filming, experimental content of Bowie and Kraken, forward John Hayden in the scenic Alaskan wilderness when a bear gave the team some different content than they would have expected. Well, I mean, he is a cutie patootie, not the sea troll, unless you're into that and God love you, different strokes for different folks, but you've got a sea troll mascot for some, and then a cutie patootie for some others. And yes, I'm married, but I'm not blind. Anywho, so again, possibly don't go as a mascot fly fishing in a river that is known for, bear shenanigans, bear nanigans, if you will. The guy in the mascot costume is like, well, I'm gonna be the last one. I can't run in this thing. Um, See, this is no. Mo would not be walking gingerly. Mo would be hobbling the hell out of there. Look, I'm pushing the mascot over. I'm getting out of there. He's too top heavy. Look, I know I'm not going to be the fastest runner. I need to create a distraction. I'm sorry, Sea Troll. You're going sideways. I'm tripping you. Looks, some sacrifices were made. To be fair, I would honestly watch the hell out of mascots fly fishing and getting, bothered by bears. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, I know. But see, my instincts are more Bambi-ish, like get the F out of here. Although I know you're supposed to make yourself big, but I'm not going to play dead in a river. Or did I learn that? I don't remember if I learned that on Magic School Bus or by Bill Nye the Science Guy. So, yeah. And then to round off our stories that invite, well, our savior to come back and rescue us and or the sweet meteor of death, no and all the no and continues to be all of the no. A nearly 2 foot long rat, almost the size of a small cat, was discovered inside a family home. That is no. Hell no. The house is getting burnt down. We are bringing a young priest, an old priest, and a Unitarian to cleanse the ashes. Mo is never living there again. Like, just between ASMR and rats, New York City is a no-go for Mo for now. Oh no, it was from England. Holy God, England, what the hell? Exterminators discovered a nearly 2 foot long gargantuan rat inside an English home. Okay, England, I'm still loving the Bakewell tarts and the giant quiz show and 8 out of 10 cats, but these rats, I don't know if I can do this. Now, officials are warning that the cat-sized rodent is not a one-off, but part of an increasingly out-of-control infestation in the area. Now, I wonder where this is, and is this located anywhere near the Birmingham bin, standoff where your trash hasn't been being collected because the trash people are on strike for better pay? I know that's a problem. I know I'm addicted to UK news for some reason. I don't know. I always feel smarter when I'm listening to someone with an English accent. Don't know why. Because, there's nothing like Kentucky news. I mean, it is a common accent, but you just don't feel smarter all the time when you hear it. That being said, I love me my Appalachian Americans, so don't take that the wrong way. I'm one of them. I just like to pretend I'm smart. Now, the rat measured over 22 inches from nose to tail and was found cozying up in a North Yorkshire home. Easton Ward councillors David Taylor and Stephen Martin posted it on Facebook. Now, photos were taken by an unidentified resident that showed the massive critter, again, yuck, curled up in a plastic bag, ready to be tossed. It's almost the size of a small cat, and that's not a one-off. Both, counselors were saying it's a shocking and growing problem. Now, rodents have been spotted in increasing numbers around the area, traipsing through alleyways, bins, and overgrown land, and now inside homes. Again, no, someone needs to get Dingus. Dingus will take care of this. Now, both Taylor and Martin proposed more funding in collaboration with landlords to tackle the absolutely, again, holy fire would be my only option. This is another problem. People don't understand the upkeep that it takes to maintain a home. And if landlords aren't doing their parts, if there are, trash, you know, fly tipping, as they would call it, or basically just dumping trash, it is gonna invite rodents. It's going to invite the plague. I mean, y'all want the plague in true Archer form. This is how you get the plague. I am now Mallory Archer. Y'all want the plague or final form Jesus. Continue to not deal with this. Like, I don't know if America needs to send Terminex over, but UK, I'll be praying for y'all. But I'm not going over there if y'all have giant rats. Just no, no, and no. Send all Bakewell tarts and, Battenbergs and everything else, care of Mo in the deep end. Thank you. But those are the three stories that are bound to get a higher power involved, I hope, and or at least an end to the shenanigans. Now, I think, well, not the relatively, recent, but for the first time in a long time, we have an all-female cast of contestants that are ready and willing and able to meet Lord Chippy. So let's meet our swamp monsters for today, because, wow, they're a doozy. And one of them is definitely a big old doozy.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Now, this is a case that's actually been covered a lot on YouTube. If you've ever peruse channels that do maybe more long form content or interrogations, I do believe that this woman's interrogation is on some of the interrogation channels. I will try to find it and do a one-off. It's a heartbreaking case. Maybe, quote, maybe I hit him too hard. A babysitter who threw, yes, you heard that right, threw a toddler into a wall, blamed his injuries on him eating soap. Now, as I have remembered and pre-planned today, by the power vested in me in buying, well, ridiculous Sailor Moon props for this very purpose, I excommunicate you from the female race. You are, I don't even know what you are, but we no longer see you as a lady, as a woman. You are a female, and we do know, just know, you don't go here, you're not from our school, full mean girls, like, we don't know you, we don't talk to you, just none, no. A 24-year-old woman, again, at 24, you have this amount of evil in you. Wow, your demonic powers have grown greatly. You're a late blooming child prodigy of evil. How awesome. She will likely spend decades behind bars for taking the life of a 23-month-old baby boy who she was babysitting. Again, I have covered this I've seen this interrogation, and the mother finding out that her child is hurt. She gets a call, that, scary call that you get in the middle of work. Hey, your son's at the hospital. We need you to come in. What's going on? And the mother was deeply questioned about what had gone on, because the police don't know what's going on. And, they have to look at the person closest. So the mother, and then it came out that, this absolute heifer, Kamoria Lumay Hodges, and again, don't care if I said her name right, because she has, been adjudicated of taking a young life. Now, a jury in Macomb County on Thursday found her guilty of one count of murder in the 2022 taking of young Kyrie Starks, this beautiful, vibrant, loving, look at this baby boy. He was, a blessing and a miracle for his mom, just like every kid is. And she stole that. Now, as Law and Crime has previously reported, officers with the Roseville Police Department on June 22, 2022, responded to local hospital staff after a report that a young boy had been admitted with severe head trauma. Now, the victim's mother had contacted police after picking up her son from Hodges's home. Hodges was a neighbor that had been babysitting the child on a semi-regular basis over the last couple months without any issues. So, she had a routine. It was semi-regular. She'd drop her son off there, and he was usually a-okay when she got him. Nothing that would have warned the mother that this was an unstable, situation or things like that. Now, Hodges had reportedly contacted the mother, at work and said that the victim didn't look normal. So, she called and said, hey, he's not acting right, things like that, all in a very sort of sus way, like, oh, I'd have no idea how this happened. Now, the mother rushed to Hodges' homes where she found her son in dire straits. Once I made it there, my baby was on the ground having a seizure, just seizure after seizure after seizure. She told Detroit Fox affiliate WJBK. Now, Hodges attempted to blame the boy's condition on an allergic reaction to him eating soap. Now, as a mother of 6 children and one who liked to just put everything in his mouth, soap doesn't do that. And this was all put out on a GoFundMe page that the mother put up for her son. Now, the boy's mother said she initially thought that Hodges was telling the truth and, he could have been having an allergic reaction until, unfortunately, the medical staff at the hospital explained the full extent of the boy's physical injuries. I believed her until the doctors told me otherwise because I trusted her. I feel so betrayed because I would have done anything for Hodges or her daughter, she said, noting that Hodges' child was the same age as the victim. Now, he arrived at the hospital about 2 a.m. on June 14th, 2022. According to medical reports, he had blunt force trauma to the head and was bleeding out of his eyes and ears and had to have immediate brain surgery. This is alleged to have, happened because she threw him into a wall. I mean, again, I don't know how to say anything more about that than what the actual hell and demons walk among us. Now, police, sprang into action fairly quickly in this particular case and had Hodges under arrest at 7:50 a.m., just hours after, little Kyrie was admitted to the hospital. Now, investigators said that Hodges went on to admit that she had, thrown the toddler while she was watching him for the mother. She admitted that's not what was supposed to happen, she told detectives during an interview. You all want to blame me. You all just want to say I put my anger on the victim, and that's not what it is. No, that's exactly what it is. I don't know if you're mentally deficient and can't figure this out, but that is exactly what you were charged with, ma'am. Maybe I hit him too hard. This is a quote, but I didn't take my anger out on him. Well, then, ma'am, I hope you meet a lot of Gen Pop people that aren't taking their anger out on you, but just, lay hands on you, allegedly in Minecraft. Let's see how this equation works when it happens to you, because I'm wondering if you'll class it, as something different depending on the, whatever the, aggressor says. Now, authorities initially charged her with first-degree CA, but the charge was then upgraded to murder after the victim unfortunately and heartbreakingly succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead on Wednesday, June 15th, 2022. Now, she is currently scheduled to have her sentencing on October the 2nd, and she faces up to life in prison. Bon voyage, bitch bag, drop the soap. I got nothing more to say, except that Kyrie was a beautiful soul, and after all of this is done and she is sentenced, I hope everyone just remembers that beautiful little boy. Again, possibly don't be a ratchet on the internet and don't admit to crimes while FaceTiming. I mean, I'm not a life guru, but these are the things I've learned while covering the news. Quote, lucky her family ain't making a GoFundMe. A woman stabbed a rival in her, quote, mother effing brain in a parking lot fight and bragged about it on Facebook. Congratulations. And the world's dumbest criminal has finally gotten its woman quotient. You know, if anything a man can do, a woman can do too, and that includes being a stupid, dumbass criminal, doesn't it? Equality for women. A Texas woman is behind bars in Florida, so does that make her a temporary Florida woman, or was she just imbibing the crazy? Need to know. For attempting to take the life of a former friend of hers at a 7-Eleven last month. Could we get any more ratchet? Like 7-Eleven, brag it on Facebook, probably videotape the daggone assault. Could we get any more, just ratchet? Probably not. After plunging a knife into the victim after agreeing to meet in Miami to fight and then bragging about it on social media. Call me Chuckles. You are a clown. Call me Chucky and Mike Myers, ho. Shanika Jenkins, 29, of Houston, said in a live Instagram video reviewed by Miami Police Department, according to her criminal complaint. That hoe can have fingerprints, evidence. I don't give a flying F, Jenkins allegedly said in what can only be described as a cluster migraine headache for her defense attorney. Now, Jenkins allegedly said after being asked why you stabbed that girl by a viewer in reference to the victim's murder on July 15th. That hoe, lucky her family ain't making a GoFundMe right now, B. Now, these are not my words, obviously. Now, police say that Jenkins attacked the victim, who has not been named in the complaint, in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven at Miami's Liberty City neighborhood with a small black knife following a spat at an upscale hookah lounge, Uncut Miami, earlier that evening. Now, the pair allegedly exited their vehicles and approached each other after arriving at the convenience store to fight before things turned deadly. During the fight, the victim felt a sharp object stabbing her in the face, and she yelled, "She's stabbing me." Now, video recordings from Instagram and then Facebook, because we have to multi-platform our pre-meditation and post-meditation. I mean, how to crime Sarah Boone style. Good Lord. Don't write about your crimes. Don't Facebook about your crimes. Don't Instagram your crimes. Maybe just don't crime. I don't know who needs to hear. Now, it allegedly shows Jenkins saying things like, "I ain't sorry, B, I'll do it again," and, other various statements related to the attack and taking, credit for it. Again, in videos that can only be described as a migraine headache for her defense attorney. Now, she and the victim used to be friends after meeting through social media in 2023, but their friendship ended abruptly following a 2024 argument on Valentine's Day. "I tried to stab her in the eye and the middle of the forehead," Jenkins again proclaimed on the video, noting that the victim was lucky she woke to see another day, and that she should have finished the hoe off, and allegedly should have used a freedom seed instead of a knife. But yeah, no, just pray for her defense attorney and the vodka that he consumes. Now, she has been charged with attempted first-degree murder and was held Monday without bond. She does have prior convictions on her records for grand theft in both Florida and fraud in Texas. Well, Michael Myers, I hope that your new and wonderful jail friends will call you that. Maybe don't brag about your crimes. Maybe don't do crimes. I don't know. Call me crazy. And this is an interesting case. I do think it'll be one that I do want to try to cover, but it is got a lot of things. It's got competency, it's got, kids, but it's also got a lot of unknowns, and it might be an interesting trial. Continuing to search for our babies, a mother has been indicted again for the alleged taking of life of 2 missing kids after being deemed incompetent to stand trial. A Maryland mother has found herself back behind bars days after she was released from a psychiatric facility where she spent the last 3 years after being deemed incompetent to stand trial for the alleged taking of her 2 children's life, who remain missing but are presumed dead. Catherine Hoggle, 38, was indicted Thursday on 2 counts of murder in the disappearance of 3-year-old Sarah Hoggle and 2-year-old Jacob Hoggle, the Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office said in a press release. Now, Sarah and Jacob were last seen with their mother on September 7, 2014. Authorities believe that the children are no longer living, but their bodies have not been recovered as of yet. Now, she was first charged with child neglect and obstruction and later murder, but she was deemed incompetent to stand trial some 30 times over 5 years. Her lawyer at the time called Hoggle a profoundly mentally ill woman. Now, in November 2022, a judge dismissed the charges and ordered Hoggle to a maximum security psychiatric hospital. The judge cited a state law that requires defendants must be deemed competent to stand trial within 5 years or the charges must be dropped. This is not a double jeopardy situation, the state's attorney's office said at the time. While the judge today ruled that Hoggle is incompetent to stand trial, he also involuntarily committed her to a psychiatric facility indefinitely. Should doctors ever decide that her condition has improved and she's released, the state reserves the right to recharge her with murder. So, again, we're looking at this case. This case is going to be very in-depth, and it's going to be one of those where we're going to have to look at tips, have to look at timelines and everything else, and especially with her mental health being deteriorated, she's not going to be a reliable narrator of what's going on, at least in my opinion. So this is definitely going to be a case to watch. And there's no guarantee that going back to jail or being charged won't deteriorate her mental health again. And not knowing the case, how much of her mental health, seems to be severe and, really actually, a clinically diagnosable mental health issue, or is there any percentage that's malingering? I don't know. It's not a case I've dug into, but it's definitely probably going to be one of the bigger cases if she's deemed competent, because no one likes someone doing anything to kids. But that has been the Lord Chippy contestants this morning, and it's a full female sweep. So XX chromosomes, I guess we can crime too. There really is no segue for this, but bring on the French fries, because I have had one full migraine and I've decided I don't like them. McDonald's for migraines. Here's what experts say about the viral McMigraine cure. Again, I'm willing to try anything. Is there a cure for migraines that you can pick up from a fast food drive-thru instead of having to go to a pharmacy? Well, TikTok seems to think so. This so-called McMigraine meal from McDonald's has gone viral on social media, with users sharing videos about one specific order from the fast food chain that they claim is a go-to remedy for severe headaches. Now, several clips of the McMigraine hack have racked up millions of views, and it's clear that some content creators have inspired viewers to test out the remedy themselves. But is this tasty solution really, working? This is what experts have to say. Now, the McMigraine hack is really just a specific order from McDonald's, and it's pretty simple. 1 large Coca-Cola and 1 large fry. I've been treating migraines for years. And being fluffy. It's dual purpose. I mean, I don't know. Ordering and eating these 2 items are the only 2 steps that you allegedly have to take in order to try the McMigraine method. 2025, when McDonald's becomes Big Pharma. I'm loving this timeline. The Matrix is a weird place. Now, fans of the hack would share online clips of the 2-item order and praise it with captions like, "Okay, this actually works," and "Migraine girlies know," although it's important to note that not all viewers say this works for them, and some commenters say they've tried the hack with no success, because bodies are unique and individual, and that not everything's going to work for one person. But now I want French fries, damn it. Now, experts are dubious of this, McMigraine hack. Amy Davis, a registered dietitian, notes that while it's become a popular hack online that many swear by anecdotally, there's no clinical research to support that this is a reliable treatment for migraines. And a cardiologist, Dr. Kulani Lau said that while it sounds like an easy and delicious cure, it's actually really unhealthy and not a medically backed treatment. Well, I think unless you are clinically unsmart or mentally subnormal, you do realize that McDonald's is not a health food. I mean, I don't know that we needed the doctors to state the obvious, but if you needed to realize this, McDonald's is not health food. So, and the way that it might actually work, even though medical and nutritional experts are skeptical, is that it probably works by, caffeine, sugar, and salt. Caffeine restricts and constricts blood vessels, which can help reduce sort of the throbbing pain that migraines tend to produce. Caffeine is a proven ingredient that has been known to help migraines and is found in many of the over-the-head headache and migraine medicines. And carbohydrates and sugar that quickly hit your bloodstream, drive up your blood sugar, make you feel better, especially if you've been feeling queasy or, nauseous or sensitive to lights, like you do with most migraines. So, if the hack works for you in moderation, I say, why not? But, again, McDonald's isn't health food. I didn't think anyone needed this, grand acknowledgement, but there you go. Now, I didn't think anyone else needed this warning, but apparently Brandy Glanville needed to realize that you're not supposed to put Nair on your face. Now, I would like to point out that Nair, I've only tried it a couple times. It didn't ever work for me, but it does specifically have on the bottle that you're not supposed to use it on your flippin' flapjack face. I mean, Nair specifically says, like, do not use on your face. They have Nair for your face, which again, I never thought worked very well, but there you go. Apparently, Brandy did not know this. A former Real Housewife of Beverly Hills stars, Brandy Glanville, has been dealing with new self-inflicted cosmetic issues after a desperate attempt to kill what she said is a facial parasite. Okay, no, Nair is for hair. I can't. No, all the no. Did Dr. Google tell you to do this? I feel like even ChatGPT wouldn't have recommended this. Now, in a new TikTok video, Glanville52 showed off very severe chemical burns on her face and revealed that she had attempted to kill the facial parasite she's been dealing with since July 2024 with Nair. For the love of all that is holy. Just don't use Nair on your face. I don't know who needs this advice, but don't. J.K. Buck, I know you're going to be shocked, but I have watched nary an episode of A Real Housewife of Anywhere. So I have no idea if she has a face parasite because I have no idea who this woman is in all reality. But don't Nair your face. I, again, don't know who needs to hear this, but just don't. Well, Appalachia attacks. New York, get ready. Apparently, we are sending a blob. A mysterious, massive, hot blob beneath the eastern U.S. is moving toward New York. Well, I mean, that's where Pizza the Hut went. I see how this happened. After Spaceballs, he didn't eat himself. He went underground. UK scientists have discovered a massive quote-unquote blob of rock underneath the Appalachian Mountains that is slowly oozing its way toward New York City, per a slimy new study published in the Journal of Geology. This thermal upwelling has long been a puzzling feature of North American geology, the study's lead author, Tom Gershon, said. A professor of earth science at the University of Southampton officially dubbed the Northern Appalachian Anomaly. I can English. The Northern Appalachian Anomaly. That sounds like a cool grunge band, not gonna lie. It's a subterranean slime ball that sits 125 feet deep underground and extends about 220 miles across New England. Now, the team reportedly discovered it using seismic tomography, a method akin to taking a giant CAT scan of the Earth. Well, learn something new every day. Now, while originally thought to have formed 18 million years ago when North America broke away from Africa, new research suggests what appeared to be 80 million years ago when the precursor landmasses to Canada and Greenland were splitting apart. Okie dokie. I mean, who knows? It lies beneath a part of the continent that's been tectonically quiet for about 180 million years, so the idea that it was a leftover from that landmass broken apart never quite stacked up. Now, the study published last year in the Journal of Nature, the team described how this molten mantle molasses is created when hot rock just sits outside the Earth's core and rises to fill cracks in the crust caused by land rifts. When this material eventually cools, it sinks or drips, causing a ripple effect along lower surfaces of the continent that's been called mantle waves. I mean, interesting. I just like that we have a northern Appalachian anomaly. I mean, that's fun to say. I like to say it. And, uh, you know, welcome to the family, New York. You too can be part of Appalachia. Clowns are scary. No, I don't care if it helps my health. No clowning. This circus skill is great for your health. Again, if it's clowning, I'm out. I don't care what it takes me out of. Oh, it's juggling. Don't drop the ball on this one. Boosting your brain health can be a real balancing act, and one that involves regular exercise, a good diet, healthy amounts of sleep, and plenty of mentally stimulating activities. But there's one little trick that's been shown to help you stay sharp as you age, and it's been, associated with the circus for a while, but is far from clownish. Now, according to a growing body of research, juggling carries loads of cognitive benefits. Yeah, and if I could juggle and or catch something without fear of, blacking my eye, this could be helpful. But if I could never juggle before this, I don't know that I can juggle now. Juggling changes how quick you are to react to objects, how well you can coordinate between two hands, how you hold your posture under control. It also helps with hand-eye coordination, says Dr. Amy J. Bastian, a neuroscientist at the Kennedy Krieger Institute in Baltimore. It's good for people who want to improve precision and timing of their movements. Now, one 2024 study found that juggling had positive effects on cognitive abilities and postural stability in healthy, physically active older adults. Juggling has also neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to adapt to new stimuli, which can in turn possibly help with cognitive function, according to a 2022. However, scientists note that the benefits seem to fade out if you drop the habit, quite literally. In one study, about half of the brain changes disappeared in just a month after the participants stopped juggling. Now, Bastian is researching whether juggling could have therapeutic potential for people with movement disorders like cerebellar ataxia, a condition that affects coordination and balance. So it'd be really interesting if this can help people. We're learning a lot about the brain. It's still very complex, still very mysterious. So if this is a help, maybe I'll learn to juggle with something very soft. And possibly I will one day be able to walk upstairs without falling. I mean, I doubt it'll happen, but there you go. Well, I don't know what to pray for this woman, to get laid or to get fired. A horn dog Texas cop has vowed to give everyone a ticket after she didn't get any action the night before. Well, I mean, truth in advertising. I've often thought that police give us tickets because they're pissed off about something and or quotas. A Texas cop vowed to give everybody a ticket after she didn't get laid the night before, according to a since deleted viral TikTok. Oh, someone is flippin' flapjack fired. Now, the post showed a uniformed Harris County Constable, Precinct 5 Deputy Jennifer Escalera, writing on a notepad with a caption, "Didn't get cracked last night, so everybody's getting a ticket." A nod to her apparently, lack of Pound Town visits, I guess, What in the name of all that is Cheetos? Like, yeah, directly fired, never coming back. God, I hope you like working at Walmart. Now, the cop blurred out parts of her uniform but left her name tag visible in her post. Yeah, the incident is under investigation, according to Fox 26. Our administration is aware, and Internal Affairs has opened up an investigation. We have no other comment at this time, the constabulary said. Well, I mean, there you go. I mean, she's not an unattractive woman. I mean, I don't know what she looks like without filters, but her filters make her look beautiful. Now, the female cop's TikTok account features several posts showing her in uniform. She also posts about being a mother. Now, one of the posts shows Escalera getting ready to, quote, work as a female police officer, not for long. Contemplating if I really need this job and knowing that I do. Now, residents of Texas Precinct were outraged over some of the cops' posts. It's really inappropriate and disrespectful, said Alex Finch. Not as much distrust, but you can't rely on them. It makes them look unprofessional when they start posting videos like this. You can't take them seriously. Then they wonder why, when you see them, they say, why don't you respect me? Or why are you talking to me like that? Well, you don't treat yourself like a woman and you ain't treating yourself like a police officer. Some homegrown wisdom from, Mr. Finch. Yeah, I don't expect her to be policing much longer. Not gonna lie. In what in the name of all that's unholy is this? And this is our final story. Save Squonk, Pennsylvania's ugliest, saddest creature to be celebrated at a weekend festival. I don't know what a skronk is, but I kind of want to go see what this festival is about. Pennsylvania's ugliest creature, a depressed fictional pig named Squonk, will take center stage Saturday at Squonkapalooza, a festival drawing people from across the country to celebrate the mythical being and make it smile. Squonkapalooza organizers Lisa Russell and Joe Fogel described Squonk as the saddest of folklore creatures who constantly cries because he's so ugly. He has loose-fitting skin and warts, and his closest relative is the boar or the pig. Now, Russell, who dresses up officially as Squonk, told the Post, "Is this Russell? Is this the Squonk costume? Because why is it flesh-colored? Who thought of this color scheme? This is deeply unsettling. Also, what is wrong with that mouth? What in the Timu is this outfit?" Oh, okay. I like this outfit better. Squonk Elvis is there. It has two webbed feet only on the left side. Now, the origin of Squonk, who is said to reside in the Keystone State's Hemlock Forest, dates back to 1910 with a book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumber Woods. And Pennsylvanians have adopted the beast as their own. It's the cryptid we can claim as our own. It's not big or scary like Bigfoot or Mothman. They just hear his story, see him sad, pity him, and want to uplift him like they would their friends or neighbors. This is the third annual Squonkapalooza, which is held at the Bottle Works Ethnic Arts Center in the southwestern part of the city of Johnstown, Pennsylvania. All people of all ages are welcome, and people travel far and wide for the one-of-the-kind festivities. People have told us they come from the West Coast, the East Coast, South Africa, the Deep South and far north. Now, several of our vendors actually travel in from out of state, including me. When we started this festival, I was living in Washington, then Colorado, now Illinois. The event includes a compliment contest where participants can try to cheer up the ever-sad Squonk. So it's basically Eeyore as a pig. I love it. I say we have a meetup at Squonkapalooza next year, y'all. Thank you for sharing your morning with me. As always, I hope you've had fun with headlines, true crime, and a bit of the absurd. I am going to sign off of here. I am redirecting you over to our Shanda Vanda Arc stream, which starts at 10. We are back on the Petty Express, and this heifer is ridiculous. So expect some cursey words possibly. We are still at the part where we are going through kind of the dramatic, but not dramatic reading of the text. Then we will probably get into Paul's testimony next. And a bunch of other things. So that is what is going on today. Hope you join me over there. And hopefully this afternoon, I might be able to get some craft videos up. I'm hoping Mr. Mo's going to help me because making something level is not my jam. I have realized that I don't have good eyeball leveling skills. And he's like, why don't you just use a level? And I'm like, because I'm pretty sure I could eyeball it, which I can't. So there you go. That's my constant battle between eyeballing and using an actual level. I will chat at you later. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because you never know when you might meet a squonk or, and don't put nair on your face. Mama Mo says. Bye, you guys.